What was it about Nazareth that kept the power of God from flowing? What was it about crossing the lake of Gennesaret to the other side that unleashed the greatest demonstration of healing that the world had ever seen at that moment? Why was one bad and one was good? And I'm telling you why we need to find out. Because you have a loved one that has cancer and they're sitting in this room. Because someone in this room that you know of is battling diseases of the body and the mind. And we need a miracle. We need another church service the way a submarine needs a screen door. We need God to intervene in power. How many of you are ready for that tonight? Raise your hand. Here it comes. Most chilling verse I ever read was Mark chapter 6, starting at verse 5, where it says, and he could do no mighty work there, but he laid hands on a few, and that was it. So I looked in the original language because I'm certain that if Jesus really wanted to, he could have healed. So I knew the word could was probably a bad word to put in that verse. I think would was better until I went into the original language, and it literally said that Jesus came up against a force that stopped his miracle power. The religious demon is the strongest demon. It's not the abortion devil. It's not the perversion devil. It's not the devil worship devil. It's not the witchcraft devil. The most dangerous demon in the demonology is the religious spirit, because it's the only one that can go to church. The others can't. It scares them too badly. It's the one that can stand in the presence of God. It's the one that can seduce a generation into having a relationship with God with no power. That is the spirit that was in Nazareth. And what it was over-familiarity. In other words, they knew Jesus, the son of Joseph. That's what they called him. That's not who he was. Jesus, the son of Joseph. Jesus, the carpenter. Jesus, the son. And they were offended at him. And here is the things they did that are being done all over Tulsa and all over America. And out of one side of their mouth, preachers are saying, I want to see miracles. Out of the other side of their mouth, they are not willing to get rid of their religious spirit. Did I preach anything yet? So, number one, here's what the commentary on Mark 6 says. Every other city that Jesus went to, besides his hometown, had laid the sick out on the edge of town in expectation of his arrival. His hometown was the only one that made no special preparation. Now let me tell you, I like it that we aren't necessarily wearing ties in church anymore. I'm enjoying being able to breathe. For a lot of years I couldn't. And that's not an insult to anyone that wears a suit and tie. But I think that the clothes is never an issue to me. As long as your clothes are clean, God bless you. And if you have, and I'm so thrilled with all of you that from prayer have worn those holes into the knees of your jeans. But I want you to know I'm not against your clothes. But I do believe that reverence needs to come back to the house of God. I'm going to try it again. I believe reverence needs to come back to the house of God. I don't mean, look at me, I don't mean legalism. I don't mean rules. I mean reverence. Where you walk into the house of God and you know that you're in the presence of God. Number two, they knew him so well that they didn't know him at all. So they knew Jesus, and there comes with too many Americans where you don't see it in other nations of the world. Even the way they say the name of Jesus versus the way we say it. For them, church, they will walk for days to get to church. They will go through amazing things. Am I preaching yet, by the way? Is anybody getting anything out of it? So, reverence and the fear of the Lord needs to come back into Christianity in America. You say, well, Mario, that will offend people. Do I have to go over that again with you? So what if we initially offend them? But what happens when the power of God is unleashed in the house of God because we are reverent, because we're worshiping Him in spirit and in truth, because we've gotten rid of the religious spirit? Help me, somebody. And then all of a sudden, they get off of alcohol in one step instead of 12. And they're turned off of drugs and delivered and set free. Somebody clap and thank God for miracle. Thank God for miracle. The next thing is they were relatives of Jesus. They weren't worshipers, they were relatives. And so let me explain to you how that works. How many of you have relatives? I was just seeing if anyone was cloned. Today you can't be too careful. So now I'm looking at you have relatives. Let me tell you about relatives. Relatives get offended at you for the strangest reasons. Let me define what a relative is. David was in a cave, lost everything, and his relatives showed up. Relatives are people that when you have totally run out of money, show up at your house to ask you for money. Relatives know you so well they don't know. They have nicknames for you. Let's say that you win an Olympic gold medal. You go home to your relatives and they say, we don't care what you won, you will always be Bubba to us. Relatives are offended if you stop habits that they have. Oh, so you think you're better than me, you quit smoking. Yeah, you think you're better than me, you're not wanting to have cancer with the rest of us. Now wave your hand at me if you have relatives. The other breed is worshiper. Now watch me. Jesus comes out of the boat and it says immediately the people recognized him. Recognized him. Now here's the interesting. One group knew him, the other group recognized him. What I have watched in meetings where the miracles start to flow is people have a revelation of who Jesus is. And they don't rely on the Jesus upbringing that they've had that has been dead and dormant and compromised and absolutely repetitious. They looked at him and they recognized him. And they didn't know him, they recognized him. That's deeper. One had a familiarity with him, the other had a revelation of him. Now, if you want to know, one day the dirty dozen are all following Jesus, and they're getting familiar. And all of a sudden, a Roman centurion appears, and he said, "Sir, my servant is dying, and he needs a miracle. Would you heal him?" And Jesus says, "Yes, I will come to your house, and I will heal him." And the centurion says, "No, sir. You see, I'm a military man. And I have people that are under me that have to do what I say. And there are people above me, and I have to do what they say. And let me tell you who you are. You're the one who can say it, and the sickness will be gone." I'm going to try it again right now. You're the one who can say it, and the sickness will be gone in the name of Jesus. Jesus turns around deliberately looks at the 12 and said, I have not found faith like this anywhere in Israel, not even within 18 inches of me right now. Why do they walk into my tent who have never known God and are instantaneously healed? I'm going to shout it from the rooftop. Because they are not crippled by a religious spirit. How many of you know we got to get rid of our religious spirit in the name of Jesus?